Okay. So this is it. So can you leave a one in the comments if you can hear me, Bill? All right, we'll get started here. Okay, awesome. So this webinar, I'm gonna share my screen here, is about your website through Google's eyes. I'm gonna go through a blueprint for helping you get found on Google and other search engines, really. So most local website businesses are silently losing money. A lot of trade businesses that I talk to, they have no idea that their website is not findable. This session is all about showing you what Google sees and helping you build a website that eventually will take the place of running ads for your business. So a little bit about me and our team. So my name is Adam Bauer. I'm a co-founder of The Marketing Clerics. We are a digital marketing agency here in Hastings, Minnesota. I personally have over 10 years of web development experience as well as SEO experience. And one of the passions that really drives us and me is getting results that matter. So that means putting together foundational components that will get results that businesses need to continue to grow and thrive. You're going to learn today in this webinar what is important for trades businesses and online presence in 2025. It will be really, it's important because what we're seeing is as a trend is a lot of businesses that are in the trades are getting really dependent on using ads to get business. A lot of them are taking very little effort and time to build their own assets, their own website, their own social content that's organic. And it's kind of like I equate it to the difference between renting an apartment and owning a home. So when you stop paying rent on an apartment, you lose your apartment. When you own a home, you have a long-term asset. So when you stop paying Google ads or Bing ads or Facebook Meta ads, you lose that traction, you lose the leads that come in from that. However, if you work on your own website, you optimize organically on your own website, optimize organically on your own social media, you have a long-term asset. The interesting component and the trend that we're seeing is the people that are building those long-term assets in this industry, they're overseas lead generation companies. They turn around, they sell the leads to you, providing a terrible customer experience. So they create Google profiles that are facades. They create really good optimized SEO websites that are facades. There's not a local business name, some Joe Schmo Electric, but they're getting the leads because they're building that asset, and they're not spending money on ads at all. And so that's why this is important in 2025. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about how Google search engines work, and we'll talk about the 5 website essentials you need to get found. All right. Sorry, my slides are a little basic. I didn't do all fancy transitions and stuff. So some of the statistics that we're seeing out here is being online is really the new word of mouth. So sometimes you can luck out and get tags and recommendations on social media, but it's really inconsistent. So the reality is search is king, and these stats prove it. Over 55% of consumers search online before calling a home service pro. 86% of consumers read reviews for local businesses before they even make a call. And the sad reality is ads are increasing. So trades professionals saw an average increase of 10.43% year over year in cost per click, with an average of $6.96. That's just for a click to land on your website. And Google local search ads, you guys are paying between $25 and $45 per lead and that is a 23% increase year over year. And so the ads are only going to keep going up. If you work on a solidly optimized website, you can reduce that ad cost, and you can have a consistent budget for marketing that will grow your lead gen through this. And so let's jump into how we can fix that. It really starts with understanding the basics of how search engines work. So when Google or Bing or DuckDuckGo or any of the others, one second, go up, and what they do is they go and they have a 3-step process. They crawl, they index, and they rank. So they start with the crawl. They basically access your website with a bot. It's automated. It scans the site. It clicks on links, tries to find interlinks and webs. That's why they call it a spider bot. And oftentimes what we see, this is the first stop that issues are found. And so if there's issues with Google or any other search engine bots crawling your website, they're not going to be able to move on to the next step. So step 2 is index. So just like a master librarian organizes books by topicality, relevance, and trust, so Google does when indexing websites across the internet. It's a little bit of a larger scale than your local public library because there are approximately 1.2 billion websites on the internet right now, according to Netcraft. And there's actually, the more shocking stat is there are 252,000 being added every single day. And so the index that Google and these other search engines are doing is working really hard. And so in order to stand out amongst the sea of website content and relevancy, we need to work on the step 3. And so step 3 is rank. And so the final step that Google does is they go out, they identify what the searcher intent is, and they present the best results for that search intent based on a number of factors that we'll go through here. So any questions on this before I move on? All right. Next up is the 5 website SEO essentials. So we're going to go through these in detail and go through tools that you can use to actually test your own site. So first is speed and mobility friendliness, content keywords, page structure, local signals, and some of the technical stuff. And so we're going to take a look at each of those, and I'm going to actually share my screen. We're going to look at some of the tools that we can use and test some of the sites that we have out here. So the first is the speed and mobile friendliness. So let me change my screen share. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so PageSpeed Insights is a free tool by Google that allows you to see how fast your website is and load times and that kind of stuff. And so we're going to take a look at this tool. We're going to look at let's find a site here. I'm going to just do a Google search. I'm going to find let's do Randy's Electric because they're paying for ads right now. And so I'm going to search search their site. Oops. All right, let me pull their main URL here. And what this does is it scans the mobile first, then it goes into the desktop. And so this will identify performance issues in the website load time and speed and visibility. And so the trick behind this is having a really fast, large contentful paint. And so what that means is you can actually, as a user, see the page before everything is fully loaded. And so it gives the illusion or the imagination that it is loading fast. And so this one, first content to full paint, is 2.6 seconds, which is kind of in the yellow on mobile. The desktop side is looking very good, 0.7 seconds on that. And you can actually see the visibility as it's going here. And so you can see what's loading first, what's loading second. And that really kind of helps understand what people are seeing when they're visiting your site. So PageSpeed Insights is a free tool. It's great for speed and mobile friendliness. The next tool next section is content and keywords. And that tool, there's a couple of them. Really, the intent behind this is understanding what your customers are searching for, what language they're using, and tying it directly to what Google is going to give you. And so, for example, if one of your keywords is panel upgrades, is a consumer really going to search panel upgrades? Maybe. Let's take a look. And so these tools, this Ubersuggest tool, gives you an idea. So if I search panel upgrades, it's saying it's searched 880 times per month in the United States. And so it might not be a good like keyword to focus on one of the pages. Now, if we did panel installation, maybe that's a little different. And of course, it's going to ask me to set up an account. We use paid tools. So I'm going to close out of this here, panel installation. And so that one's even less, so 390. So really it's about understanding what your customers searching for and looking for. And we'll get into another tool that will actually help you show what keywords your website is ranking for. And it's also a free tool. So the good news is most of these tools are free. It's only the professionals like us that use the paid tools because they have more ability to save data and optimize data and that kind of stuff. So that is content keywords, and then we'll go into how to apply those to your page structure. So if we look at page structure next, so those are kind of the headers, the titles, how Google reads the layout. So picture the librarian that Google is, and your website is a book. And so your website is a book that the librarian is trying to read. What they're looking for or what they see is not the pictures. They're not seeing the all of the text and that kind of stuff. I mean, they do, but that's not what they rank for. It's not the priority. The priority is actually the title data and the header data. And so there's a free tool. It's a Chrome extension called SEOtesting.com. And that will actually tell you what your titles are, what your descriptions are, what your headlines are, or header tags, and all of that connects to what Google is seeing. And so if we look at the homepage of Randy's Electric here in town, we see the title of their book is Expert Electrical Service, Randy's Electric. The description, I like to describe this as kind of that inside flap of the book. It kind of gives you a teaser about what the book is about, and encourages people to read and open the book. Same concept for SEO. And then headers are the next step. So H1 is the most important header. And so this header must be related to the title. If it's not related to the title, that's your first mistake. So if I look at this site, electrical service, expert electrical service, that the header tag is electrical repairs. If I search electrical service or electrical repairs, chances are I'm going to land on this page because that's what the H1 and the title dictate. Okay. So if we jump into some of the location pages, so Woodbury, we can see the title is just Woodbury. Now this probably could have been better, like electrical contractor Woodbury or electrical services Woodbury. And the H1 tag, electrical repair and installation in Woodbury. So the title does not match the H1 tag in this instance. And so to optimize this, would be to take electrical repair in Woodbury, electrical service in Woodbury as the title, and that kind of aligns better with the H1 tag. So that is page structure, description, headers, and how Google sees your website. The ideal structure for a service-based or a home service trades business website is going to be like indexed. So like the table of contents is going to be your home, about, services with services, each service having a sub page, service areas, testimonials, reviews, case studies, or portfolio, and contact. So that's kind of the header menu on the top. And then as you dive deeper, the service area pages are very much like this, where you've got a page for each city in your service area. And within this page, you have links, ideally, links to the other services that you provide. And it doesn't look like Randy's got that for this one. But that encourages cross traffic with bots as well as with visitors. And so we have the services page, so like panel installation, lighting installation, that kind of stuff. And then those will link to the service areas. So these are the the areas that we serve. These link to this service page here. And beyond that, there is also a third category of structure that's ideal for SEO, and that's a service plus a location. And so you take each service that you have and then create a service plus location page for every single one of your services in every single city that you serve. And you don't put that in the top navigation bar. That's not a table of contents item. That's actually an indice. And so that's part of what Google sees and Google reads when they're trying to when someone's trying to find a specific service in a specific city. So that they'll land on those sub pages that are kind of hidden from the main navigation, so to speak. So hopefully that helps. The fourth one that we're going to talk about is local signals. So Google looks for consistency with your name, address, phone number. It's looking for reviews across the web that are tied to your business name, address, phone number. And all of that kind of amplifies your listing. And so when I say your listing, I mean the Google listing in here. So this listing here. So the reviews that you get, the having the phone number and the website address and the address, business address match across the web is a huge trust signal that tells the librarian, Google, that you are who you say you are. And the problem is the people overseas have gotten really good at this. They get virtual offices, they get whatever, and it's hard to be an honest and trustworthy trades professional in the modern era. So if we look at consistency, there is a tool, another free tool that you can take a look at for this this part of the SEO essentials. And so from here, I can look at, I know, Bill, you're on here, so I'm just going to pick on you. So Red Dirt Electric. And then I'm just going to put my email so you don't get spammed. Oops, phone number, sorry. So this tool, and I'll put all the links in the comments and everything, will actually help you see where your name, address, phone number consistency is across the web. I will also show you the reviews that you have. It'll show you the SEO rankings that you have and that kind of stuff. So this will load here in a second. All right. So you've got a 54 online score. You can see listings is the lowest here is as a 12. And so you can see your business on the different platforms. So Google Maps, the address is flagged here. It's not exactly the same. Facebook, the address is not exactly the same. You're not listed on Bing, Apple Maps, MapQuest, etc. And so that's the listing and the NAP consistency across the web. Local ranking, you're doing really good. So electrician in that area. So good job there. Reputation wise, so reviews, if we take a look at you versus the rest of the industry, you're looking a lot better than those in the average electrician industry. So that is just kind of a free audit tool that will show you your local signal strength, basically, for that. And then the last section and the last topic is technical details. And so this one gets a little bit more in the weeds. I'm not going to go super deep, but there's a tool called Google Search Console. And again, it's a free tool, and when you set it up, it actually helps you with your website immensely. So it tells you exactly what Google is seeing, exactly how many people are viewing your site, how they're clicking, what keywords they're seeing, and that kind of stuff. And so I can see, like on search results, for an example here, I can see like the last 28 days we've had on this example site, we had over 1,000 clicks. We have almost 50,000 impressions. We can see the average position of keywords. And so then we have queries down here. We can see the exact queries that are resulting in clicks and impressions and that kind of stuff. And this is where you can see what Google is seeing for your website. And so if you load your site into here, you can see exactly what Google sees and what keywords are landing on your page. So it's really helpful to see and actually like optimize some of these, or find some that are like, that doesn't make sense at all. I'm gonna find where that keyword is and remove it, because it's just not going to result in very much optimization. And the other component is the indexing. So indexing, like I said, in the steps. So you got crawl, index, rank. So indexing is an automated process. And so you can see that this site, 32 pages are indexed, 30 are not. So why aren't they indexed? Here's why they're not indexed. So we've got pages that have redirects. They're landing there and going to a different page. They're not gonna, it's not gonna put a search result that has a redirect. There's a couple of pages that are not found. So these are old pages that didn't get set up with redirects. And so that's one area to check for indexing, is making sure that you've got those showing up. The sitemaps is another thing. So this is like your index for your website, for your book. You have the power or control with Google to tell them what pages to index. And that's how you do that with the sitemap index. The other benefit with Search Console is you actually see the core web vitals, which is the page speed insights over time. So you can see over time what the results are based on the entire website. So it'll actually scan the entire site and show you which pages like need improvement. So this one has a CLS issue, and so it's taking more than 0.1 second to load, and it's the main homepage. And so you can actually see over time how your site has performed from a user experience standpoint. Other technical components. So the schema. And so schema is, let me try to explain this in an easy way. So schema is kind of like the I don't know, quick hit or quick info sheet for your website and your business. And what this does is it connects the locality, the address, the phone number, the name, address, phone number. It connects your services listed. It connects your pricing range, that kind of stuff, all into kind of this rich result that feeds search engines the information it needs to produce and rank your page and your website. And so I'm going to pull up our example here with Randy's Electric, and I'm going to see what it sees in terms of schema results. All right, so we can see that the rich results that we have are breadcrumbs. So structured data, they've got essentially that's like, like Hansel and Gretel tracking the pages that go down, crawling. They do not have any local data in here, and so that's one thing in one area that is missing. Now, if I look at like our site for an example, it's loading here. Silly. All right, that's not gonna work. So essentially what you can do, let me see if another one of our clients shows up here. Might just be our internet. So schema is important for local search results. And so if someone is searching around your area and they don't see Google doesn't see the schema on your website. So here's the local businesses. And so we can see like the business type, it's an organization, the URL, open hours, that kind of stuff. There's also could be a phone number, address. Those are missing on this example site, but those that directly ties to the results or the things connected in your Google profile. So that is another tool to test your technical backend. Okay. So that is a lot of information. Let me stop my share here. The reality of the whole thing is it's overwhelming, and there's so much that we can do that we want to pick one thing and do that. And so one of the things that we want to take a look at as a really most important thing is are your web pages that you currently have, do they have the right titles, the right headers to be able to get people that are searching for your services to land on your website? And so that's if you took nothing else from this webinar, go do that, because that's going to move the needle the most. The tools that I shared, I'll send those out. Those are going to be important to use to be able to help give you that best leverage. I wanted to talk a little bit about just common mistakes, and we'll go through a couple of new examples as well as we do this. So just as I shared my screen here, I'm going to reshare. So for me, it's helpful to see visuals. And so that's why I'm sharing examples here. And so one of my first example that I have is Queen City Electric. And so when I look at this site, I mean, it's dated. It's old. It's got the fixed width format. It's got a lot of text. The images are low quality, that kind of stuff. When I look at some of the back end, so if I go to electrical services, looking at the title, we've got electrical services in Cincinnati, and then H1 is electrical contractors. So this is fairly well optimized in that sense. There is a slight issue with the description being a little bit too long, but otherwise it looks really good from a Google visibility standpoint. The problem comes in when I go into the next page, so our markets, and I look at the same, and it's the same title, and it's the same H1 tag. I go to our customers, it's the same title, and it's the same H1 tag. And so what's happening here is a technical term called keyword cannibalization. And so Google doesn't know which page to prioritize because they all look the same to Google. So make sure that you're not duplicating the titles, duplicating the headers, headlines, and the titles, because then Google's not sure what page to send people to, and it's a really easy way to lose rank and lose trust. Let's take a look at another site. So this one, as you can tell, I was searching in Cleveland yesterday. So this site is it's got really high quality imagery. It's kind of fancy-ish. It's got movement, and I can click on like our team. But it's a little glitchy because I kind of took me to this about section and then it kind of locked me there. So not sure what's going on there. But like if you go to about section, it's doing the same thing. So from a functionality standpoint, this Google is ranking this site below others, below their competitors, because the user experience behind it is not there. It's not good. And you can actually see like I go into each of these like electrical construction, I can see the keyword is just electrical construction title. The H1 tag is missing. There's no H1 tag. That's a big mistake there. And so what happens is I want a fancy website. I want it to look really good and wowing, but it just kind of sits invisible because Google doesn't see it. And technically there's no setup for Google to see it. And so that's if you want like some of our people that we talk to are running like smart home automation companies, and so they want to have like a high luxury feel to their website, and that's great. You need to have that for that industry, but you also have to have the technical background and the technical backend for Google to be able to see that beyond just the videos and the images and the big fancy text and graphics and that kind of stuff. And then the last example I have is KE. Yeah. This site just didn't load. And so this is kind of that page speed stuff. And so one of the most important things that you can do as a business owner is go to your website on a regular basis. If you don't have any way to automate a check on it, have one of your team kind of go in on a weekly basis, just load your website, view it as a customer would see it, and provide feedback. And so we do that on a regular basis for our site as we have individuals go and navigate the site and provide feedback for that because it's important, especially in this digital era. So we went through the tools, went through the mistakes, the quick win, and I think we'll jump into the good news of this whole thing. So if you are in a position where your website is not optimal, It's not in a spot that is getting you a bunch of work. There is a way to get that with consistent budget. The alternative that we've seen is using ads and ad spend to help push people through slow seasons and that kind of stuff. The story of that and the challenge of that is it keeps your business kind of in a roller coaster, right? And so when you're running ads, you're usually slow and you need to ramp up. Well, you might not have the money or the budget to afford to run ads at that point if you're too slow. And some months you really don't need to run ads because you've got the business you need, but you can't afford to run it. And so it's kind of it's a loser's game when it boils down to it, because ads are a direct marketing approach where you pay money, you get leads. Now, if you're smaller or if you're in a slow season, you can't really spend the amount that you need to get the leads that you need, and that dollar amount keeps going up. And so in this chart, you can see, so the red is your ad spend, the gray is kind of organic SEO cost. The line graph here are the leads. And so the yellow line is the leads you would get from ads. The blue line are the leads that you could see from organic SEO. As you can see, the ad spend or the ad leads kind of fluctuate with the amount of money you're spending on ads. Whereas the organic leads continue to grow independently of the spend or the budget that you have to spend on organic SEO. And so what happens is towards the end here of quarter 7, quarter 8, quarter 9, even before that, is you basically taper off. You continue to have that monthly investment of organic SEO, website investment, marketing, your own asset, building it, but your leads and your ROI continue to grow up. And then you don't have to spend any money on ads anymore because you've got that foundation built up, that you've built your house. And some people build their house to sell it, and some people build businesses to sell them. And investors are not going to be very inclined to buy a business that is solely reliant on ads to get new business in the door. So essentially what we're trying to set the picture for is a world where you have your own website, your own social media that you control. You control the message, you control the lead flow and all of that stuff. And you don't have to panic buy ads when you're in a slow season. And so you have a consistent budget, you have a consistent means of getting new business in the door. And that's really the name of the game that we're providing. And so the last thing I want to leave you with is a call to action. So if you're in attendance live, what is one takeaway that you'll implement on your website from today's webinar? If you want to put it in the chat, you can. If you want to put it on a comment later, that's great too. But one takeaway that you have done on your website from this webinar today. And then secondly, use this QR code if you want to schedule a chat with me. I'd be happy to talk with you, just discover what you're doing, what you could use help with, and how I can help you. So invite you to do that. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Bill, appreciate your loyalty here. And we'll see everyone on the live stream, and we'll play the replay so everyone can see that. So I'll put this back up on the screen. Thank you guys for attending. That's all we have. I will mention our next webinar will be in June. And we're actually going to go through kind of a brand workshop. And so we're going to talk about your messaging on your website, and how to get it to the point where you can start getting the work that you want to do and not all of this kind of emergency low-hanging fruit type stuff. And so we'll help guide businesses through that brand exercise to identify their messaging and to get their stuff right the first time. And so look forward to that. It'll probably come around the first week of June as well. So we'll send that out as well. So thanks, everyone.